Hi, it's Leanne at Body Shop Performance. This week I want to talk to you about inflammation. It's a topic that I'm really interested in. Getting someone on the podcast quite soon to talk to us about inflammation. But what is it? What am I describing here? Well, it's the inflammatory response. It's the response to the body to the presence of a toxin or a stressor or, for example, a cut. So if we get a cut on any part of our skin, we get an inflammatory response. And that response will be red and white blood cells flocking to that area to support the area, to start healing and repair, and to protect from infection. So in that context, an inflammatory response is a really good thing. But we can also get an inflammatory response to, for example, environmental toxins like pollution, like chemicals in the air. We can also get it in response to poor food, food that isn't suited to us. So if we're not eating a personalised diet based on perhaps our genes, or based perhaps on our current state of gut health, then some of the foods we eat can cause inflammation. That, for example, is what happens when, or part of what happens when a celiac consumes wheat or similar based product. It can also be lack of sleep and stress. Any kind of stress, if it's prolonged and persistent, will cause an inflammatory response in the body, and that context is not a good thing. So how you can combat or reduce your risk of inflammation is simple, really. It's simple in principle, but perhaps harder to implement. Consume a personalised diet. So find out what your body is suited to from a genetic perspective, but also your current state of gut health, and eat a diet that is suitable. So my diet is low carbohydrate, lactose free, moderate to low saturated fat intake, and then there are specific foods that I include in my diet as superfoods, and specific foods that I avoid in my diet based on my current state of gut health. So I do an annual gut test, as many of you will know, and I've done a one-time genetic test. So that's one thing you can do. The second is look to your sleep. So a lack of sleep causes inflammation, and we know that when we get enough sleep, everything is much more in harmony within the body. So everything, or my belief, sleep should start with a 7. So 99.999999% of us need between 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, or 5 sleep cycles. So as long as your sleep starts with a 7, you're probably going to be okay. So whether that's 7 hours and a minute, 7 hours and 59 minutes, or somewhere in the middle, you're probably going to be pretty good. Now, the composition of that sleep also matters. So you need some sort of tracking device. But if you just go for 7 hours something every night consistently, that'll stand you in good stead. Now, the next thing to consider is how you manage your stress. So there are things like meditation, mindfulness, doing things that are meditative, like walking, spending time in nature, doing things that you enjoy, that you really connect with, that really light you up. How you manage your stress is going to have a huge bearing on your inflammatory response or lack of. They're probably the 3 key things. There are others, but I'll leave you with those. Personalised diet, sleep, and management of your stress levels. It's okay to be stressed if it's intermittent and then you recover. Stress recovery. But when it's prolonged and elevated and consistently high levels of stress, that's when you get an inflammatory response, and that can cause lots of problems for your health right now, but also for your future health. So have a think about those concepts, and as ever, if you've got questions on that, let me know. I look forward to hearing from you, and all the best for now.